Well, welcome everyone. I know that at this point, a lot of us probably have Zoom fatigue, and we do appreciate you spending a good portion of your evening with us. We're really excited to be able to speak to the merits of our system for the upcoming school year. We feel really invigorated about the planning that we've been doing and are excited to roll this out because we think that there are going to be a lot of added benefits for students in addition to the benefits that they would have already received via an Archmere education. So the agenda for this evening, Mr. Doherty is going to give a brief presentation, talk a little bit about how the day in and day out will run on Archmere's campus, talk about the daily schedule, share some sample schedules for students, and then we'll open it up to a Q&A. I've already received a number of questions ahead of time via your Zoom registration, but I'm sure that there are some that will come up organically through the presentation, so we will look forward to fielding as many of those as we can. I did just want to be forthcoming about the fact that, unfortunately, DIAA has not released any specifics for the start of fall sports, and Mr. Oswinkle has told us that that might not be coming out until mid-August. So there could be some last-minute decision-making that's being taken into account. So I apologize that I won't be able to speak to any of the athletics. However, there will be an addendum to the health and safety document that we release in the coming weeks that will specifically focus on extracurriculars in the realm of athletics. Tonight we'll speak a little bit to extracurriculars within the school day and on campus in the afternoons and in the evenings as well. I also want to make an announcement about special events. We did meet as a Headmasters Council this week. I know that there's a lot of things on people's radar in terms of junior prom, junior ring mass, honors convocation, some which we will attempt to reschedule, some which we simply will not be able to feasibly hold this year. However, please stay tuned. Mothers Guild, Fathers Club, all of our wonderful parent volunteers, Dr. Marinelli, as well as our advancement office should be in touch soon regarding some of the things that we discussed in that meeting. And then lastly, I did get a lot of questions about the shuttles. Delaware actually did come out with their plans when it comes to shuttling and transportation. We're very fortunate in that a lot of our transportation is organized in-house. So we also have a large school bus that we usually don't take advantage of when it comes to our morning and afternoon runs. So just to give some parameters on the shuttle, a little bit of detail before we get started with Mr. Doherty's presentation. Our school bus will be able to hold 24 students socially distanced with masks being cleaned in between runs. Our 24 passenger van will hold 12 students for the upcoming fall semester. And then our regular size shuttles will hold 7. We think that with those parameters in place, we can still meet the needs of those who are interested, knowing that we probably will have a lower number than usual in terms of parents choosing to drive their son or daughter to school on a daily basis. So I did just want to make that announcement. For those on the PA buses, their parameters are very different. They are sort of committed at the moment to 2 students a seat, masked. And so I just want to put that out there that will all be detailed in the health and safety document. But if that's something that you're not comfortable with as a family, it might be time to start thinking about what will transportation look like for us. So I just wanted to hit those 3 things in advance. So unfortunately, not a whole lot on sports for this evening, but I will speak to some of the extracurricular offerings during the day. So with that, I will turn things over to our Director of Academics, Mr. Doherty, who's going to share a presentation. I'll be responding to some Q&A as he's giving that presentation. Feel free to add questions at any time throughout the webinar. And then I also have your pre-submitted questions that I will try to address in order after Mr. Doherty's presentation. So thanks again for joining us.
Thank you, and thank you, Madam Thiel. I'm happy to see you folks. Actually, I can't see you at all, so thank you for seeing me, seeing Madam Thiel and I. Excited to do this. Has been in the works for a while. Been thinking about scheduling since probably beginning of May. Suspicious of our not going back or going back. I've been planning lots of things, so this has been fun. Actually, a good challenge. So I'm eager to sort of talk with you about what we've come up with as a school and a community to serve the population, at least on the academic school day. So I'm going to share the screen. Give me a moment. And you can see this, Madam Thiel? Yes, okay. So this is what we're talking about tonight. This is going to be a different experience this year. We all like the schedule we have typically, but we also get smashed to bits in March, and we manage quite well. So we've come up with something better, we think, to manage the school year. So it'll be different, but in a good way. We're pretty confident that this is going to help lots of people and make people comfortable. So I thought it'd be good to sort of remind you what happened in March. What did we do when we shifted out of the typical schedule? We had 2 days, we had an X day and a Y day, and they alternated. And we had the Monday unscheduled as a study day. So each day was 4 blocks. It was A block, A, B, C, and D blocks with a lunch at 11:10, and then the Y day was E, F, G, H block, because we have an 8-period schedule. So we just did this back and forth every week with a day off for the study day. And that worked fine. So if I met you Tuesday, then I gave you homework for Thursday. I met you Thursday, I gave you homework for Tuesday. And it was as simple as that. And it had its advantages, and it had its challenges, and it had its, I think, some deficits involved, as every school experienced. So we're looking to address some of those issues as we came up with the schedule for this coming school year. So this is from last spring, as I said, and the ABCD rotation and then the EFGH I just mentioned carried us all the way through semester 2 on that remote format. And we're planning on having this, what we created was a non-remote format really, but it pivots right away to that if we have to. So we knew the plan for the fall had to do more than we had in the spring. And I'm sorry, let me turn off my phone there. That's embarrassing. There we go. We had to do more. So what were we trying to achieve? Based on parent feedback and student feedback, get students back on campus every day. This mattered. Remain on campus all day, not a split shift, 8 to 12, 12 to 4. Nobody wanted that. Create class sizes that allow for physical distancing. We can't, if we have a class average of 16, we can't have 16 in the room. Well, how do we do that? Restore the depth of Archmere's curriculum. You know, we had to cut, we had to sift things out. We had to, pare it down to its bare essentials in the spring. We feel successful, kids got what they had to get, and they just didn't get some of the extras we tend to give to boost curriculum. We wanted to allow for extracurricular and social interaction for students. There's more than just academics that goes on here. So how do we fulfill that part of their lives every day, or at least during the school week? As I mentioned briefly a moment ago, we wanted to pivot overnight to a distance model via Zoom if we have to. So the schedule couldn't be something so different for on campus from what would happen off campus. We didn't want to do that. So we tried to do this. So what we came up with is, and Madam Theo sent this out to you, basically is that the new schedule does all of what I just listed there. And it's a 5-day cycle, A, B, C, D, E over 5 days. It's basically 2 8-period rotations, A meaning A through H once, A through H again. And then a day in the middle for labs, for science labs, health, and for more programming. I think Madam Theo will talk to more specifically during the program. So we had, you would call an 8-day schedule, A through H, and it just kept on going through. But this is basically a 5-day schedule. A would start over again every week. So that's a nice picture, nice colors. It all makes sort of sense, maybe, but let me break it down bit by bit for you. Take some notes, pose some questions to Madam Theo. Please note my cool transitions. I worked hard on those for you. So what you have, the 4 blocks we had before, the A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, really become 8 in a school day. Okay, what does that mean? The ABC becomes AA, BB, CC, and DD. So to get a full day in, and we want a full day, and to meet our classes with half the size, well then we have to do this. ABCD becomes AABB, EFGH becomes EEFF, GGHH. And you can see this on the schedule. Just look to the left side of the screen and you'll see the A1, A2 we wrote down, AA, then BB, then there's this break, CC and DD. Then it starts on B day, EEFF, GGHH. All right, so that's a little bit confusing. Let's keep talking. So this is the same, this picture won't change. I just keep adding text. So you'll note the flip on the D&E days. If A day was A, B, C, D, or A, A, B, B, C, C, D, D, the D day is the reverse, D, D, C, C, B, B, A, A, and the E is the H, H, G, G, F, F, E, E. And this is good for teachers and students to meet at different times. Our typical schedule has you drop a period every day. You meet them first, then second period, then third, fourth, fifth through the week. Well, students wanted this. This was directly from the kids. Can you change the schedule? Can you vary it so we don't meet the same times? So with a 5-day schedule, there's not too much you can do, but this was an easy solution, and this should work out pretty well. But let's get back to the fact that we have 4 blocks become 8. So this 4 is still A, B, C, D, but there's this A, A, B, B thing going on. So by doing this, this allows rosters to be cut in half. One section, for instance, of 16 becomes 2 sections of 8, which then becomes a physically distanced number in my classroom, in our classrooms. So if I teach, I teach a block actually next semester. And I know already because I'm the scheduler, I have 16 students in that class. I know for a fact that during the first A block, I would teach 8 of those 16 seniors. And then in the second block of that class, of the A block, I would teach the other 8 students of that class. So one roster split in half between two periods of the same block. So the block is that letter designation, and the period is sort of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So period 2 is the second session of A. Period 6 is the second session of C. That kind of language we probably wind up using. So that's a very interesting thing to do. This lets everybody be on campus. This lets people be in classes that are appropriately sized. This was instead of the 8 to 12, half the school comes, and then the 12 to 4, the other half of school comes, which would almost be impossible in our school for other scheduling reasons, but we didn't have to go there. This was what we came up with. So this schedule, each block then, you might have surmised by what I just said, will be taught twice. So teachers will split the rosters, I just said this, but of any section with more than 10 students. So, but the first boldface sentence that makes the most impact. If I have 3 lessons, three issues in my period class, I want to teach this verb combination, I want to teach this literature component, and I want to give this quiz. In A block, A1, I'm doing the exact same thing. I'm doing it again in the second session of A block. And I have 2 classes, so I'll do this again for my other class. If I'm a teacher of 5 classes, I'm doing each of those blocks twice, but I'm not meeting 5 classes a day. I'm meeting 3 or I'm meeting 2, all right? So it's not overly complicated. And teachers aren't really teaching more. They're repeating themselves more. They're not really doing more teaching, all right? So hopefully, without having immediate feedback, you've understood the concept of doubling or splitting the block to sort of double the period to get half the roster. That was fast. All right, so classes, so now let's get specific with meeting times. Classes meet in person twice a week. So let's go to the A block. It's an easy reference. A block on A day meets period 1, but we flip the schedule. A block meets the second time on D day, periods 7 and 8. So 1 and 2 become 7 and 8. I will see each of those sections twice a week, guaranteed. All right. So great, twice. But gee, we're in school 5 days. What's going on here? So just to be clear, blocks A, B, C, D meet on Monday and Thursday. Blocks E, F, G, H meet on Tuesday and Friday. We'll talk about some changes to that in a minute. But basically, twice a week, I've hammered this point home pretty clearly. It's called beating a dead horse. So let's come to this screen. So the in-person meeting is critical, but if I can't meet 7 periods a day, 5 days a week, because I have to physically distance my classes and split them in half, I'd have to go till 9 o'clock at night to keep what I usually do. We're not doing that either. So we've added 2 days. We will be offering 2 days of asynchronous work. So in-class work is synchronous work. I'm with the student. It's happening in real time. It's in synchronicity with me and the student. Asynchronous is happening on their own time out of the class. So A block leave, I've given my in-class A block class, A block lesson, excuse me. They leave. I've already posted an entirely different lesson for asynchronous work. I've given them homework from my A block class. They have homework for that lesson I taught them in person. But the next day, I don't see them on B day. I don't see them on C day. But so they have to do something. I'm giving them another lesson, an entirely different lesson, building on the previous one, no doubt, but not just homework. So homework for that first class, and then there's going to be asynchronous work also before the D-Day second class. And Mrs. Theo has established a 30 to 45-minute period of time that they will either do maybe a video for me, 15 minutes of me talking, exciting like this, and then maybe 15 minutes of some written work or an exercise or a paragraph or a reading assignment. I don't know what it is yet, but whatever it is, it shouldn't last. It should last between 30 and 45 minutes. So this means that 4 days of instruction, asynchronous and synchronous, will maintain the depth of our curriculum. We miss those days from the spring. We want to restore those. Parents were wonderful about recognizing what we had to do, but they rightly said, we kind of want you to get that stuff you missed. Can you get that back into the curriculum? We're like, yeah, we want to do it too. We're sick about it. It's very hard to give up that which you prepared and want to give your students. We are as sick about it as you were, and so we want the solution as much as you do. So again, hope this makes sense. You see us twice, you don't see us the other 2 times, but that work is waiting for you on the academic portal. It's there, it'll be stored ahead of time. Let's keep talking. How am I doing, Madam Theo? Am I making sense?
Well, yes, I was actually wondering, could I jump in quickly just about your point with asynchronous work? It seems like a nice time to address a question that we got in advance, which is all homework going to be posted online? And the answer is yes. We will be using Blackbaud, our My Archmere online learning management system, and teachers are committed to a more structured and a more streamlined approach to posting both asynchronous work and homework through that platform. One of the things that we noticed in the survey data from students and parents is that they are not interested in being inundated with 6 different emails from different teachers. And that's why we have a learning management system. So we will be making use of that in a meaningful way. And I thank that individual for that thoughtful question. So go ahead, Mr. Doherty. Sorry about that.
It's interesting too that we are taking more advantage of things we might have already had, but didn't necessarily feel the need to always use, comprehensively. So there are some benefits of this system. We have found silver linings all over the place as we prepared this schedule and planned for the fall. So we'd rather not be in the situation we're in, but we're willing to find those nuggets of goodness within the unfortunate state that we're working with. So Wednesdays, C days are for labs. That's sort of the bold statement, So we have the schedule. Mr. Hartman, the science department chair, worked with his department, and they will run that'll be a 5-period day basically, and they will run 5 70-minute lab periods with, I guess, 10-minute passing time and then a half an hour for lunch. So again, each teacher has his own lab, basically, his own room with lab equipment. So there's 7 of those, so you have 7 teachers' rooms running with labs, and they've scheduled it that every section of science, full-year science, has its labs every week. And this lets us, by the way, keep instruction balanced on the ABDE days. So one class won't meet 3 times, and another class meets only twice. That throws off the structure of the curriculum for the week. Now we have 2 and 2, and then every week the labs. This is, believe me, like a miracle so that this can even happen. So it's great. So C days will have more than labs because kids only have 1 lab. They don't have 5, they have 1. So that's a big day there. So health classes for freshmen and sophomores. Schedules still being worked out. Again, we haven't solved every problem. What is July 22nd? We're still moving toward opening day. We have lots of things we're still filling in blanks for. But health classes will meet on this day. Campus ministry will run programming on this day. Community service can run even on campus on this day. Our college counseling runs junior and college, junior and senior college seminars will run on this day. Clubs and activities can meet on this day. They can meet after school as well, because we will have after school time as well. We'll have wellness activities for students and teachers on this day. Extra help. Teachers who aren't science teachers are unscheduled this day. All right, so I'm an English teacher. I'm scheduled with my other administrative duties, but I'm not teaching on C day ever. So I can have kids come to see me. Teachers will have study hours or work sessions or group work. They can do whatever they need to do to meet their kids' needs. And students can request to meet their teachers at certain times, because my lab is over at this time. Can I come see you with my friends at this time and talk about that essay? Yes. So there's opportunities here. So that's what Wednesdays are. You can see now the 4 days of in-class and asynchronous instruction, and then the 1 day of labs for every science class, every 4-year science class. So now, not every week is a 5-day week. So on a 4-day week, which we start the school year with 2 of them consecutively. We begin on a Monday, we end on a Thursday. We have the 4-day weekend, which means we come back on a Tuesday, end on a Friday. That's 4 and 4. So on those days, we keep that balance I just mentioned, and we drop the C day. All right, so we do that. We would follow a rotation of A, B, D, E, and we drop the C. Because A, B, C, D would mean that A through D meets twice, but E through H only meets once. And that's problematic structurally, curriculum-wise. So we drop the C day. Which means that you might want to know there are 13 C days in semester 1. So there'll be 13 labs, 13 possible health class meetings, 13 college seminars, and other opportunities. So that's a lot actually. It isn't necessarily, it's less probably for AP. I don't think it's less for honors and college prep, but I'm not trying to balance. I'm just saying we've offered a day to get that lab instruction, which we lost as soon as we went remote. So again, in case you're wondering, 13 C days from now to the end of the semester. So if we are forced to go virtual, and you know, I see that possibly happening, the on-campus rotation remains the same, basically. So you remember this, you know, this is what we did. I just showed you with a kid's schedule, but this is what would happen. We go to the A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, A, B day. The C day wouldn't be a lab day because we wouldn't be on campus to have the labs. Although there can be other programming that Madam Thea was working on creating. The D and E days flip, just like I said before. It'll be D, C, B, A, and then it'll be H, G, F, E. Now the bell schedule will be different, but there's, I think I have that comment here. So it drops the double block, but it'll drop the double block since a full class can meet on a Zoom. So that class I mentioned before, my 16 seniors that have 8 and 8 on campus, there's no reason to meet them 8 and 8 anymore. I will meet them, and besides, if I'm a teacher with 8 periods, you don't want to Zoom 6 times in a day to begin with. That's bad teaching, it's exhausting. So I will meet my 16 kids in the A block for an hour. I don't have a bell schedule here yet, we're tweaking that still. But basically, what we did in the spring, starting time will be later. Of course, we'll go for a noon, 1 hour lunch because parents requested that. We had 11, 10 to 12 in the spring. That worked, but people said, can you maybe tweak that a bit and push that to 12? We pushed it to 12 because you guys wanted that. So essentially, we go to this schedule. It pivots automatically. The only difference is you're not going to have your 1/2 of that class. You're going to just meet your whole group together. The rotation's the same. C days would, oh, here we go. C days would offer study time instead of lab time and some social programming students sought in the spring. They wanted something, they thought study days were helpful, not always helpful. Parents felt that The days were helpful, sometimes too much free time because we weren't doing the asynchronous learning so much. Kids had more free, some classes had more free time than others. It was more imbalanced. We're looking to fix that. So that's what would happen on a C day. So let's look at a sample student schedule. And I sort of did a freshman schedule, but these could be any courses from any grade level. So I mapped out AA, BB, CC, DD, EE, FF, GG, HH, and AB days. I mapped out the 5 periods on the lab day, the C day, and I've reversed the same schedule from A and B on the D and E day, just as I said. So if I'm a freshman and I'm only meeting one of the 2 blocks, one of the halves, I made the schedule up, but it's entirely possible that I'm a freshman. I might start my A day with lit genres, freshman English, and then my next class is going to be the first half of the B block. Then I don't have class again until the second half of the C block. And then the next class might be right after that for the first half of the D block. And that depends on teachers will divide their rosters. All right, and they might sometimes change that, but Mrs. Theo, I think, will speak to that as well. So then they go to F day, I'm sorry, to B day, and then they might have bio the second half of E, world history, second half of F. I have nothing, they only have 7 classes, so one day's gonna have 4, one day's gonna have 3. And then the second half, that should be the case. And then the second half of H would be their theology, exploring sacred scripture. They get to Wednesday, and then perhaps they'll meet their health class first thing, and then their other class that day is bio. They'll have their lab for 70 minutes. And that health class might be broken up into other activities with another teacher. Again, we're still working on how to fill that 70-minute block. And then you go to the DE, which I won't run through that schedule. It's the very same thing, just reversed. It's the first or second half of that same block, just like it was on the other day. So first half of A becomes the first half of A here. It just happens at the end of the day. So in terms of pure, where do my classes meet and what does my day look like in terms of going to a class, this is what it looks like. But you're probably saying, oh my God, what are they doing? My kid's doing nothing from 10:29 to 12:39 on A day? I'm out of here. You know, so no, please stay at Archmere. This is what we're doing. So this, and you probably figured this out. The kids who've seen this have already figured this out. So for instance, I reversed the colors. I've taken out the colors for the classes and I filled in the blanks with what we would certainly suggest they do and what you would certainly, we hope, suggest that they do and what they have certainly already seen that they want to do. And I'll tell you why they want to do it, and you'll probably figure this out too. But basically, if I'm this kid, my English is my first block of A, well, I have 44-minute periods here, by the way. I have 44 minutes free before my next class. Well, I just got homework in English, and I know there's an asynchronous lesson waiting for me between my A block, my A day class, and my D day class. I have another whole lesson to do on my own, and the homework from A. I have time to do it. So then I go to math. Then maybe I need some, again, we're talking a whole semester. I might use one day I'll use my second part of B after math to go see my science teacher, because I know that teacher's free. I need some help with that lab. I didn't get it. I don't know, that the formula is confusing. I need some time. And then during this break, right now, we're planning on having, because nobody is scheduled during this homeroom lunch study hall. It's sort of this catch-all. And I'm going to schedule every kid into a space with a teacher, either 3 different groups in the SLC, a couple groups in the theater, whatever. We're going to get 513 kids scheduled in classrooms and spaces appropriately sized, no more than 10 students in a classroom, and we can do more in bigger spaces. So perhaps your child will eat lunch then. Perhaps they'll eat C block, I don't know, the first half of C, but there's another period to do more work. And then at the end of the day, maybe they'll take that last period 8 to just kick back, go to the SLC, grab a Sunday, because we had Sundays today, and they're gonna take some time off. Or maybe that free day was gonna come in the second half of B, I don't know. but I won't go through the entire week. I just randomly filled in spaces where we believe students will need to, and you would want, we hope, your students to fill with seeing their teachers, working with their peers, doing their homework for their next from the class they just left or the class they had yesterday, and working on the asynchronous lesson that I provided I know what I'm doing the entire semester for my seniors. I will have at least 20 different lessons recorded for them and then assignments attached to each. They'll need to do them before I see them the next time. We'll all have this. So they have in their control the opportunity to get a whole lot of work finished, and after school too, before they get home. And so when I showed this to students, they said, what do you think of this? We sent it out with the letter Madam Thiel sent, and they saw me here for some group meetings and like, so what do you think about that? They're like, it's great. It's like college. And next thing, we can get so much done during the day. I want to have so much homework at night. I said, you said it, I didn't. Sounds good to me. You know, we'd like you to do this. You know, so is there the kid at Archmere who will see a day and see 4 periods of just free time? There will be that kid, and we will work with him to, or her, not to do that. And hopefully, if that's your kid and he comes home with 4 classes of homework and asynchronous work, and he's working till 10:30 at night, you would probably be able to deduce, did you use those free periods? Anyway, you know how kids are with homework. We do, you do. Some are right on it, some procrastinate, but this schedule provides a whole different opportunity to work with their academic structure and their ability to focus on work before they get home. Take some work home. It's good to work at the house, but you can get a lot done here. So I think my next slide, I think I added something. Oh, here it is. So on the C day, I did want to go there too. So I added on the LMNOP, or the block letters there, for reasons I couldn't even begin to explain. But the O block, maybe after they've had their bio lab in their health class, they're going to go to an activity after lunch. They're going to go to, speech and debate or mock trial, or they're going to go to the drama club because Mr. Manowski's going to meet that day, or every C day from this time to this time he meets. I don't know yet. End of the day, maybe there's going to be a yoga session available to kids, and you're going to do that, or you're going to go to community service. Again, that's what we're working on right now. But we know that day it's an opportunity for programming, and we're adding daily what we think we can do with those periods for different grade levels. And then you see D and E have the same logic as A and B, as I explained. Kids deserve some free time. I put a free day in there every day. You're allowed to decompress after a day. You're working hard with your async. You're working on your homework. Great. Take some time off. Go get a sundae, a pretzel in the SLC. It's fine. I think I speak to lunch here too. So I know parents will know about lunch. So I put, you can see sort of the horizontal block around the 4, the homeroom, the 5, and the 6. I can't schedule lunches the way we typically do. It just doesn't work. But we have to have a lunch. We have to have a period for teachers to eat. If I'm a teacher who teaches BBCC or AABBCC, I got to eat. I need a time off. And even some kids might be scheduled the B and the C around that. So people need to eat. So everybody's scheduled for some sort of a homeroom, but some kids are free. I might have lunch. You can see on my C block day here. Let's go to the D block, D day, excuse me. And I have kid eating lunch with his homeroom on D day. He might eat lunch on the second G block on E day. Go to B day. I have him having lunch the first block of G and eating with the homeroom on the lunch with the homeroom on A day. There's going to be some choice here. We're working to manage this. We can't have 200 kids in the SLC. It's not possible. So they eat at different times, in different spaces, outside, probably in classrooms, in other spaces we're creating for lunch, putting tables outside. We're working these things out. So we want you to, we understand that we have to, my phrase has been, something's got to give. We can't hold on to the structure we typically have. We can't say lunches can never be outside the SLC. Something's got to give. It's going to be, they can eat in classrooms. They can eat outside. They can eat outside the theater. They can eat whatever. So we're bending appropriately where we have to bend to make an environment which gives them some freedom. And because there's no way for me to schedule lunch the way it typically is. All right, I think I've said plenty on that. My prompts some questions I can answer. And I think my last screen with my exciting confetti transition there, I just put it all together. I just put everything together. So this could be a kid's schedule. We would hope something like this. Of course, I'm ambitious here for every student, that they have class, they have time for their asynchronous work and their homework. They seek extra help because some teachers are available at different times, as they always are. They have lunch. They have some more asynchronous work. They've had 2 classes by now. They have homework from 2 classes. They can sort of maybe work on that, or from the day before, they can get that done. They have 2 more classes. They have a free period because they want to have it. They have absolutely within their control the means of scheduling and organizing their day around their academics, around their asynchronous work, and around the homework that we're giving them. Some parents thought we didn't give enough homework. We understood that. Your kids will have plenty to do. We appreciate the rigor we offer. We tend to give work. I mean, we give work that's meaningful. It's more so, I think, because we're so sort of compact right now. So I think with your help and our urging, that students learn to manage this very different school day and find its opportunities and benefits. That's what we're hoping for. I think that's probably my last slide, so I can stop talking. But after this, if we don't answer your questions tonight, or if you think of questions later, you can certainly contact, of course, Madam Thiel as well, but I'm speaking directly to the schedule. You can certainly contact me at my email, or you can call me on my phone. Happy to talk. So I'll keep this up. Well, actually, I can't. You can't control it, so I won't keep. I'll just stop sharing. And then, did I stop sharing, Madam Thiel?
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay. There we go. All right, so hope I didn't talk too much.
All right, so we're gonna get over to some Q&A. I was able to keep up there at the beginning, but there's been a number that have just trickled in, a lot with similar themes to questions that I received in advance. So I am gonna go ahead and just sort of answer them in an order in which I think is hopefully most logical. So we did get a lot of questions about lunch and how that's going to work. So what Mr. Doherty referenced in, that skinny little lunch block in the middle, that's not when all students will be eating. Our dining provider, Sage, they've been very thorough throughout this whole process. There's actually a linked PDF that will be in our forthcoming health and safety document that details all of the precautions that they're taking, but everything will be grab and go. So students actually have like a 2-hour window during which they can be popping into the SLC, purchasing their grab and go lunch, and then either eating outside in the quad or under the colonnade where we're putting tables. We've invested in Adirondack chairs. We would encourage students to just bring a towel or a blanket and sit on the quad if that's something that makes them more comfortable. But in terms of lunch, they will have a lot more flexibility with where they can eat. Yes, there will be seating in the SLC. Our max capacity in there is really only one class of students, about 122. But that being said, we have a lot of other non-traditional spaces on campus that they can leverage. So as long as there is an open seat, which has been fixed to take into account social distancing, they can eat there. So stay tuned for more information from Sage. And again, has been very, very thorough. I also want to speak to the classroom cameras. There's been a number of questions regarding the sort of hybrid delivery. What if I don't feel comfortable sending my son or daughter? What if their temperature registered over 100 degrees for today, and as a precaution, I need to keep them home? what they will do is they will actually just log into their Zoom platform, enter the code for the class, and be able to tune into the classroom. The nice thing about the cameras that we've invested in is that they're not the owl, which I love the owl. We use that for board meetings and things like that. But it seemed to be much more of an investment for like elementary school kids who want to see their peers, you know, more so than the teacher. So we invested in a camera that will be installed in the ceiling in the back of the classroom and a central microphone in the center, so that the teacher can be circulating and walking around the room, and it's more of a fishbowl sense, so you can actually get the full sense of the classroom. While it won't train in specifically on who is speaking, these microphones are supposed to be excellent and pick up the speech of the teacher and also the speech of the students in the classroom. There was also a question about how students will understand faculty members if they have to wear masks. We actually have face shields that we're getting from the state of Delaware as part of our PPE shipment, which is sort of mandated by the state, and we're getting certain quantities of things based on the population of our school. So the teachers will be given face shields so that it's easier in terms of diction. It's easier for students to sort of read our lips a little bit more. And so delivery should be a lot more clear for everyone involved. I also want to address, some people have brought up the senior privilege. You know, if my son or daughter is finished for the day, you know, before last period, let's say, you know, on a Monday, they come in and they have A, B, C block, but they don't have D block. Can they leave early? We've decided in these unique times that we're going to extend the senior privilege of being able to sign yourself off campus early to all students. So if you drive, if you are a junior or a senior who is driving to campus, you have that option to leave early. And students can also then be called out by a parent if they cannot drive themselves. So we think that this will, you know, allow for a little bit of a higher level of comfortability in getting students home at an earlier time. And if they're not, you know, stuck on campus for some kind of extracurricular, or they're not stuck on campus for some type of coursework that they have, we would encourage them to exercise that autonomy if they see fit. So that's another question that I also wanted to address. I see a question here about a follow-up question to lunch. So will there still be prepared lunch options? Yes, they will all just be grab and go. And students will know the options ahead of time to sort of streamline their route through the canteen. So we're doing, you know, no more salad bar, no more hot bar. Everything is going to be prepackaged. I want to speak to a great question that we got in advance. How is the school supporting freshmen with social connections and making friends while social distancing and smaller class plans are in place? It's an excellent question, and it's something that's been on my mind a lot as of late. I think it's the most important thing, because we need to welcome our freshman families and our freshman students and really get them familiar with the culture of Archmere, which we know is really unique. It's a special place to be, and we need to elicit buy-in from our students when it comes to our culture on campus. So we actually had a meeting this afternoon about freshman orientation. We've taken social distancing into account, and we think we have an excellent plan, maintaining the senior buddy connection as well, which is traditionally something that's quite popular on campus. And then we also, with that Wednesday programming, are going to have a unique opportunity to really beef up our health programming. So more of a connection in terms of curriculum with social and emotional learning, really focusing on wellness as well. We have some yoga and meditation instructors coming in on Wednesday, some trainers, 5K club, and you know, walking and jogging on the track. So there's going to be an element of student choice there. When they don't have a lab, or when they don't have health class, or when they don't have college counseling seminar, they're going to be opened up to some windows of possibility in that realm. And I think that that speaks to our commitment to making sure that the freshmen also feel connected with their classmates, whether they're upperclassmen or members of the class of 2024. We've gotten a number of questions too about masks. There's more detail to come on the mask discussion in our forthcoming health and safety document. It's actually pretty much done. It's almost ready to be released. It will be released on the night of our next webinar. So the next webinar will be just health and safety focused, and we'll actually talk through the document together. But the short of it is, yes, students and faculty will be asked to wear masks on campus. While social distancing, we're actually doing we're taking a conservative approach. We're doing the 6 feet in the classroom. If anyone read the State of Delaware document, the should is 6, the must is 3, right? So we're actually erring on the side of caution. That being said, we do need to be wearing masks. The conversation has really shifted away from surfaces and is much more focused on masks and social distancing. So masks will be mandated on campus. Do I know that students are going to have to take a mask break from time to time? Yes, and in that health and safety document, it details when you can do that, right? So you can remove your mask when you're outside, you can remove your mask to eat, you can take mask breaks for drinks of water or a brief period in class, but that cannot be done while circulating in the hallways. It cannot be done while talking, sneezing, coughing, all that good stuff. Thank God we have high school students here who will be very receptive to those hygiene-based conversations, which I feel grateful for. There's been a number of questions too about, what are students doing during this async time? And I think that Mr. Doherty really spoke to that in his presentation. But the question of where are they during async time? And I did get to a few of you individually with this answer, but I should say it for the group as well. We have already done a comprehensive scan of campus with a document with max capacity. So we literally went study room to study room, lounge to lounge, classroom to classroom, and we counted how many students could we fit in here given 6 feet of social distancing between them. We are very blessed with a huge sprawling physical plant, and we have a large advantage when it comes to other schools who might be inner city schools that don't have a sprawling campus or who just have a larger student population. So I know there's been a lot of noise about this in the news. I know there's been a lot of noise in the region as well. And I have to keep telling myself we are doing what is best for Archmere, best for our demographic in terms of school size and campus size. And so when we're thinking about those things, just with the spaces, all of the spaces on campus indoors, it was incredible how many we could fit comfortably. We also have invested in outdoor non-traditional seating. So we have Adirondack chairs coming in for the quad. We have large sort of round catering style tables that are going under the colonnade outside of the SLC, some outdoor tables going behind the Manor building as well. So we're really trying to leverage those outdoor spaces. That being said, every indoor space will have a note with a max capacity and all furniture will be fixed. So if you walk into a study room and there's already 2 people in that study room and there's no 3rd chair, unfortunately you've got to look for another place. But there is a scroll of different choices of where else you could go on campus. So it's really no different than the autonomy that students were given in their free period on campus. It's just that it's happening a little bit more frequently throughout the day. We already trusted Archmere students innately to make good use of their time and to make respectful use of the space. We're just doing so at more moments throughout the day. So I hope that that addresses that question, and all of that will be communicated clearly to students where they find those max capacities and what to do if there's no chair. You simply have to seek out another area, ideally outside if you can. I think I already addressed the hybrid version. So yes, we will have the opportunity for students to tune in from home. I want to get to some of the live questions because I actually think we've been able, let's talk about extracurriculars. I'm sorry, I did want to address this. So while I can't speak to athletics for the moment, I can speak to the Wednesday. And to me, that Wednesday is key in addressing a need that you all shared in the survey data. So one of the most frequent comments that came up in both the student and the parent survey data is we've really missed all of that social programming. We really miss all of the auxiliary programs, right? The other extra things that make an Archmere experience unique. And so that Wednesday to me is a key moment for us to be able to engage students, as they'd like. Yes, they don't have a choice about lab, and they don't have a choice about health, and they don't have a choice about college counseling. We'll also be using that day for more of our traditional community programming, things like masses, things like kenosis, daily masses will still be offered throughout the school day, obviously, but for a larger mass. And so I hope that you trust us to be able to engage students meaningfully on that day. But that doesn't mean that all other, extracurricular things are going away. I've talked to Mike Johnson and student council this week. They have a lot of creative thoughts for outdoor movie nights, maybe continuing the Quizzo as well. And so those things will continue to be offered. I just pray that we can do so in person for as long as possible. And so we can really maximize our time together, face to face. A great question about students staying on campus beyond 3 p.m. So we will still have areas on campus that are staffed by faculty after hours. So in our health and safety document, which is forthcoming, it's recommended that students try to get here as close to 8 a.m. as possible. There are not going to be those spaces in the halls and in the locker commons for students to be congregating. When they get to campus, they need to report to their first period class or their first period check-in. So when we're thinking about before school, I understand that there are going to be parents that need to drop their son or daughter off early. We will still have the SLC staffed. I don't foresee that being an issue because it can hold just over 100 students. In the afternoon, we will still have the SLC staffed and all of the seating will be fixed. Social distancing will be in place. So as long as students are maintaining those distances and following those rules, students will absolutely be able to spend time on campus either before school or after school, though we are encouraging those that are flexible to try to get here as close to 8 a.m. as possible and to leave as soon as you're able. Okay. So health concerns. So a lot of questions about, the surge in cases, a lot of questions about health concerns and then keeping kids at home. I promise that in our health and safety document, there's actually a detailed sort of decision tree of how you would go about making the decision to keep your son or daughter at home. The message is going to be exercise caution if you feel it is necessary, right? Better safe than sorry. The messaging around health and safety is going to be that we need community buy-in, right? That Archmere is a special community. It's one where we need to work together. And when I'm asking you to wear a mask, it's not for you necessarily, right? But it's for the person that you know who lives with an immunocompromised individual, or it's for that elderly parent that may live with them. So we need to be cognizant of the needs of others, and we need to rise to this occasion to really stick together in that health and safety realm. So I'm not ignoring those questions. I just promise that they're forthcoming, all of the answers, as we talk through that document in the coming weeks. Will there be a way for freshmen who are doing remote learning to socially connect with other freshmen or upper class students? Yeah, so our STUCO actually has some really creative ideas for how we can do this. Some ideas around sort of a buddy system or additional Quizzo nights, additional online programming if necessary. So stay tuned. They are planning to put together a comprehensive calendar so that students will be able to see what are the on-campus offerings and then what are the virtual offerings. So I hope that answers that excellent question. In addition, outdoor seating is great, but will there be protection from the elements and the rain? So we are certainly prepared to leverage even more non-traditional indoor spaces if necessary. So my count with max capacities, it actually did not even include the gyms yet. We didn't even get there because obviously that's not the most ideal space for students to be spending time, I guess, certainly in terms of ambiance. But some outdoor seating will be covered, not all outdoor seating will be covered, and classrooms will actually be made available for free students when they're not being used for classes if necessary on a day when we had inclement weather. All right. I'm cognizant of time. We have a couple more minutes here. So a lot of questions about choir, master singers. Stay tuned for more information from Mr. Ifkovitz in that realm. I will say that Archmere has made a number of really strategic investments in technologies for our performing arts wing. There's obviously been a lot of conversation about the safety of singing, playing musical instruments, etc. That will be done in larger spaces now, and we also have it's not a fancy word, but sort of a zapper for the air in those spaces that will be installed. And so please be patient with us as we work through those auxiliary programs. Obviously, everyone's going to have sort of a unique response with how we can handle each extracurricular activity. I think I got to the lunch question. Okay, Art. Yes. So electives. We certainly understand that the virtual option of the spring was not ideal for a lot of the hands-on learning. So one of the things that we talked about, and we're actually putting together the first week of August, are take-home art kits for the the situation where we do need to go to a virtual model, so that students will actually be able to keep up with their practice and their work in a more meaningful way. So not only will the electives, yes, be taking place on campus in the same way that they normally would, just with social distancing in place, we will also have the art kits for students to be taking home. Driver's ed questions. Please reach out to Mike Wall. She's super responsive about all of your driver's ed questions. Last I heard, I actually signed some certificates for him just a few weeks ago, and he was planning on learning that from the state guidelines that he could resume driving soon. I think that that's a reasonable thing that we're offering it as a class, Mr. Doherty, right? Scheduled.
Yeah, we are. Two sections each semester.
So it is being scheduled throughout the day. We have a nice large space in which he'll be able to deliver that instruction. And then the actual road portion of it, he would be able to offer more details on that. All right. So let's take one more question. Okay, so based on remote learning interest from parents, how will that impact the scheduling of classes? So actually, if you are interested in having your son or daughter stay home, it's just that you need to put it on my radar. I have a running list at the moment of students who may be interested in staying home, but that does not impact scheduling because we'll have the classroom cameras. So it does not matter what courses your son or daughter is scheduled for, they will still be able to tune in. So that will not actually change the scheduling. So I know that we are bumping up here against 7 o'clock. I want to be cognizant of time. I know that there's a number of questions that we did not get to, and I see that a lot of them tend to gravitate more towards the health and safety realm. And so I would ask that you sort of save them, table them for the moment. I hope to have the information on the next webinar, the health and safety webinar, out soon, simply waiting on a few things to get cleaned up with the document, and then we'll be ready to release it the evening of the webinar. So thank you for your patience in the interim. But I do just want to say, I feel very passionately about the solutions that we've been finding. You know, as Mr. Doherty said, this has actually opened up a lot of discussion about, like, why were we doing things that way? And is there a better way, right? Is there a more effective way that we can be doing things? And I think that given the unique circumstances that we're living in, we have an excellent plan moving forward. And I would actually say that I think our health and safety document exceeds every single bullet point that I read in the Delaware State document that came out about a week ago. So I feel really confident moving forward. And I'm also cognizant of the fact that not every school is apples to apples, right? We have to know that what we are doing is right for our community. And I feel really passionately that we are. And so I just thank you all for your patience with us as we navigate all of these unique challenges. And I also look forward to hopefully seeing you on the health and safety webinar. I don't think Mr. Doherty will be joining me for that one. It will be our school nurse, as well as Michael Marinelli and Carl Campion. And so it will be a different set of faces. I guess I'll be the one in common, but I do look forward to fielding your questions regarding health and safety soon. Mr. Doherty, anything that you want to say before we sign off?
I saw a question about scheduling, about schedules. I usually send out the list of courses that kids are scheduled for by Friday of next week, end of July. That's on schedule. So that shouldn't change this year. And then I'll have a course change week in August, as I typically have as well. It's on the Archmere calendar already posted. So thank you for listening to my presentation. Again, I think Madam Theo is going to send it to you so you can look it over and maybe send this recording, I think. And then contact me for any of those questions specific to what I spoke to. I appreciate your time tonight.
All right, take good care, everyone. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay cool in this hot weather as well. And we'll look forward to seeing you soon.